Morning, everyone. It's just gone 9:30, and I'm going to start the briefing now. I've started recording, so for those who can't make it at the beginning, they'll be able to catch up, and we'll be able to, and even you, if you're here now, you can watch it again if there's anything you're unclear of. And yeah, we'll get a good chance to give you all the information before the race next weekend. Okay, for those who haven't met me before, my name is Pete Wright. I'm the race director for the 2022 Croyde Ocean Triathlon. Firstly, good to see you. Welcome online. It's nice to have this picture for what we're hoping to bring to North Devon next weekend with a mass start and all the things that will be as close to normal this year for our 8th Croyde Ocean Triathlon. It's just another 20 or 25 minutes or so before you joining us next weekend, the last bits of details that you need to share. As a reminder, this is a compulsory safety briefing. It's going to focus on safety. If there's other questions you want to ask, then please let me know about attending the event, but let's focus on the safety in the first instance. You must watch the briefing in full before attending the event next weekend. There's no declarations that you've watched it. All of you confirmed this when you signed up for the race, you would watch the race briefing. And if there's anyone you know who's not taking part online now, or in particular people who haven't received their emails, then let me know. Or tell them to get in contact via info@croydeocean.co.uk. Okay, in terms of etiquette, I think most of us are used to working with Zoom or Teams or other forms of online communication now. A few ground rules. There could be a lot of people join the call later on, so keep distractions to a minimum. As a reminder, keep your microphones on mute. We'll turn your cameras off to save bandwidth, and wait to ask questions at the end. You can use the chat function. My wife Lucy's going to be here. She's joining the background, so she'll answer as many questions as she can, but I'll only return to the chat if there's anything outstanding at the end of the briefing. Okay, so the agenda for today. First of all, welcome. So normally what I do in person, welcome to the 10th of July, next weekend. I will be there clearly on the day, and if there's any additional briefings I need to give on the morning, then I'll do that via the PA system. But for the moment, this is all of the information you need to know. I'm going to cover briefly COVID-19 and living safely with the virus, the current status that British Triathlon and government guidance are working with. Run through the pre-race information and just give details around how the course is set out and any changes from previous years, and then a chance to answer questions. So this is what a mass start looks like at Croyde Ocean Triathlon. Not always waves as big as this, and for those who have never been to Croyde before, this is probably as big as it's ever been in terms of surf, so don't worry, it's generally fairly flat, and certainly we plan it to be as low as possible. Before I get into the full briefing, I would just like to say a huge thank you to all those who have helped support and bring this event together, particularly the event director Mike Morris, the volunteer lead John Elliott, along with my wife and all the family that supports us throughout this, but also our sponsors, the RNLI, the water safety team, and anyone who's worked tirelessly to make the 8th Croyde Ocean Triathlon possible. Everyone who supported us, including you, our competitors, have been greatly appreciated, and we look forward to welcoming you to our beautiful corner of North Devon next weekend. Okay, in terms of the safety elements, I say we'll focus on the course, but just worth remembering that COVID-19 has not disappeared globally, and particularly in the UK at the moment. We've received our permit from British Triathlon, who encouraged all event organisers to try and keep the successful elements of COVID-19 and our COVID secure events, such as the online briefing and self-service registration. So that's part of what we're going to do today. Your cooperation in that will be fundamental for it being a success as we learn to live safely with the virus. As cases are rising in the UK, we don't want you, our marshals or spectators, to feel unsafe at the event. So there will be hand gel available at key touch points. We encourage you to maintain good personal hygiene throughout the event. And if you or your spectators want to wear masks, then you're welcome to do so, particularly in and around transition if that's what you wish to do. Whilst COVID risk is lower, in addition to your usual triathlon equipment and kit, you might wish to make sure you have some hand sanitizer with you, additional water bottles, and any additional clothing ready for the end of the race as well. This is what the transition entrance looked like last year. Everyone was having their their bikes checked and their ham and hand gel on the way in. We'll still have the same setup, but you just don't need to wear a compulsory face mask. So in terms of things that happen this year, it's going to be a competitive and it's going to be mass start. So I'll just quickly run through what you would have already seen in your pre-race information. So in addition to being competitive and mass start, that means there's also no neutral transition zone. So this, during COVID, is where the timing was stopped. That won't be happening this year. So it's a full from gun to tape time that will be counted, and the fastest over the line will win each of their categories. There is one new no overtaking sign on the cycle course, and I'll run through that shortly. So that's something new for this year. There will be water stations, 3 water stations on the run course, but we still encourage you to take your own water with you if you wish from transition. Trophies and prizes will be available to collect from Race HQ, and all spectators are welcome. So it's not a restriction on the number of spectators this year. So in terms of the event details, as I say, it'll be running competitive format. You arrive at a new car park this year. So the car park's going to be off the junction to the Croyde road, down over here. So this is as you come up from Croyde from the south, and George from the east. That will be the car park entrance. You'll drive through the field, and so you'll be staying on the same side of the road as the event field. So you won't be crossing from the car park, which was previously on the other side. You then will queue through the transition through the event field, and then you have your bike checked just as you're approaching the transition area through the transition entrance. And then you'll head down to the swim start at the bottom corner of the field. So that's all fairly similar to previously. When arriving at transition, just please make sure you have your helmet on and fastened, so that the marshals checking bikes can make sure you have a helmet with you that's safe. They'll check that your bar ends and your brakes are working, and also your number on your hand. So that's an important thing. I'll send race numbers this week. Please use a Sharpie to write your race number on your hand, so that you have that in advance. You'll need to have a copy of your either e-ticket or confirmation of your entry ticket in order to come through. When you arrive, you've got plenty of time to rack, or please allow plenty of time to rack. The transition is open from 6 AM. Make the most of getting there early and relaxing. There'll be coffee and snacks available, including fresh donuts for those who aren't competing, maybe even for those who are in the relay later. In there, you'll find a goggle bag, something similar to those we've used previously, something that looks a bit like this. Inside it, you'll find a timing chip and strap. Don't have those yet, we're receiving those this afternoon. A numbered swim hat, which you will, for your age category. So you'll have your race number will be drawn onto your swim hat, and then you'll also find race numbers, and for your to be put onto your front and back if you're going to be using pins. But we also this year, as you're going through, will have a race belt, Croyde Ocean Triathlon race belt. You know, for those who've been involved with this before, we don't like to give away anything that's not reusable. So this year we've got the Croyde Ocean Triathlon race belt. If you haven't used one before and you wish to use it, then you just pull the toggles out with the cord. There's holes are pre-punched on all of the race numbers. Feed the cord through, put it back on again. Same on the other side, and then you'll have a race belt that you can attach around your waist. For those, if triathlon's new to you, you have your number on the front, on the run, and on your back on the cycle. So you just have to spin it around depending on which way you're going. You can wear your number underneath your wetsuit as you swim. The numbers are waterproof, but if you want to just put it on when you get to transition, that's fine. The other things you also find are 2 stickers. The small sticker at the bottom is for your helmet. The larger one is to wrap around your handlebars, so you can easily find your bike in transition in case the person next to you's got exactly the same bike. Just be aware of what your number is. And that's everything you've got to have in your goggle bag. What you won't have this year is your medals, because we'll be giving those at the finish line. And as I said, you'll collect the race belts as you go through the gate. You don't want to fill up the bags too much. So when you head to the start, let's move on to so once you're in transition, I'll just make the point now about this, is there is a slight variation in the layout of transition because it's no longer a neutral zone. In order to make the flow equal for people at the top of the transition to the bottom of the transition, the run out will be coming back down to the bottom and then heading out through a funnel to the top. So swim exit down here, bike out top right, back in on the bike in the top right, flow through transition to the bottom and then back out for the run out. The racking will be set up in number order, and you'll be able to find your numbers as you go and go and head off from there. So the first wave will be women of all ages. So it's be the female wave will be called over the PA at 7:30 to leave. There'll be a siren, a 10-minute warning before the first wave is called. This is just to try and keep people in waves as they head to the beach. And the other waves were called roughly 5 minutes later. And you'll each follow a marshal down to the beach, which I think if I have on the next slide. No, I should. Yeah, I'll come back to that one in a second. So, yeah, you head down to the beach in your waves. You have time to acclimatise. So from the transition area here, for those of you who haven't seen the course before, swim at Putsborough, bike course out in blue, come back in, and then the run course in red. So if I move on to the beach area, so this year we've got RNLI, and we've added to our risk assessment just to have a lifeguarded area. So as usual, for those who are used to swimming in beaches with RNLI lifeguards, you can enter the water to acclimatise between the red and the yellow flags, which would be about halfway towards the start, probably slightly nearer to the start area. You will have time to acclimatise, but a siren will sound at around 7:50 for those in the first wave, and you must head back to the beach start holding area and be ready. Prepare yourself to get ready before you get in the water, before you get counted through. The swim start is marked by 2 flags on the beach with a line across between them. There's plenty of space, so give yourself as much space as you need. And then you'll be manually counted through the funnel, which is an important part of our safety check, how many have gone into the water, and we'll do the same as people exit. The siren will sound to start each wave after I've given them permission, and all's in order with the safety crew. And then if you want more space, stay towards the back of this group and disperse as you run into the water or walk to the water. The swim will head out past the first yellow buoy, turn left, swim past the next buoy, keeping that to your left, and then turn at the next buoy, again, keeping it to your left. So you're basically 3 buoys heading back into along the water. The distance between the first mark and the last mark is about 1 kilometre, and you'll be swimming about 250 metres out. So 1,500 metres sea swim overall. As you come out, you'll pass between 2 flags as you're heading out on the beach. It's important you go through those 2 flags. As I said earlier, the counters will be checking numbers in and out of the water, so that we have a manual count. There is also an electronic timing map at the bottom of the slipway, so we know how many people have gone onto the beach and how many are coming off again. But in case anyone's chips have come off or anything in the water, something to bear in mind. When I mention chips, it's just, again, a reminder that generally put them underneath, please put them underneath your wetsuits, put them on your left ankle. That's so that if you're going out on the bike and you're not part of a relay team, that it doesn't get caught in your chain and neck. And then when you pull off your wetsuit, then it doesn't pull off. If you lose chips, then there's a time that a price that we get charged by the timing company, which we'll pass on. So as you come out of the water and you're heading up the slipway, it is about 400 meters up from the beach, and it's hot, and running in a wetsuit. We'd recommend, if once you come out of the water, either remove your wetsuit at the water's edge or before you get onto the steep climb up out of the slipway, just to try and stop yourself overheating. And it's easier to take off a wet wetsuit than it is a dry one. If for any reason you do not complete the swim and exit the water early, we're happy for you to carry on with the event. We don't want you to come all this way and not continue. But please make sure you come out through the swim exit count and let somebody, one of the marshals, know. Not one of the counters, they're busy concentrating, but let them know you did not complete the course. I'll make a note of it on our race record, and your time will be kept, but you'll note that you did not complete the swim. So it's we sometimes have a few people who choose to do that, but it's not an issue. So the swim is going to be covered by around 40 local lifeguards in the RNLI. If you have any issues, please roll onto your back, raise your hand up in the air, and one of them come to see you. We have people on rescue boards and foam surfboards, and then we also have jet skis and an IRB boat in the water if there's any emergencies, as well as having an ambulance on the beach. So the first wave will be, as I said, women, which have red hats. Second wave will be yellow and blue. The yellow, the relay teams. The blue are those individual men over 50. The third wave will be green vet men, which is the hat that I just had here. And then the fourth wave will be orange men. But this year we're adding a fifth wave to separate out the slightly older senior men, so 30 to 39, from the younger ones under 30. So there will be 5 waves starting. And for those who are doing this for the third time, there will be a special edition gold swim hat, which you'll find in your pack. Please choose or go into the appropriate wave for your age, because your age category will decide what gun time your time starts from. So even if you're wearing a gold swim hat, please start in the correct wave. If in doubt, ask one of the starters, again, not one of the counters. There will be a water and jelly baby station at the bottom of the slipway. So for those who already feel that they need some extra sustenance, you can take on board them. From this point, you'll be heading up to transition T1. As already explained, it's not a neutral zone. So upon entering, the time will stop for the swim, or actually the run up from the beach, and then it will go into the bike, the transition before you head onto the bike. Please give each other as much space as possible when you're getting ready. And do not leave a mess at your racking point. Time and penalties will maybe be given for equipment not kept in your racking area, especially wetsuits if they're starting to be left hanging out all over the place. First, most important thing, do not pick up or remove your bike from the rack until your helmet is on your head and fastened. That is a British Triathlon rule, and with technical officials available, then that will be something that's enforced. Relay teams, you should have only your bike leg person by the rack when the swimmer comes in. You need to pass the timing chip from the swimmer to the cyclist at the rack, like a baton, like a relay baton, attaching it securely to the left ankle, as just explained, to avoid catching it. And then after your either individual or relay exit through the bike exit at the top of the transition. So I've run through the distance on the swim, so I'll catch up the slides. So just as a reminder, you'll be taken down the wave 1, queue up for the wave 2, come out of the water, take your wetsuit off, come through the counts on your on the beach on the way out. So once you're up on the transition, the time for the bike leg will start as you cross the mat, leaving the transition area. But you still will only be able to start riding your bike once you've crossed the bike mount dismount line on the road, which is a little bit further up. It's marked on the ground and we've marshalled, and once you've crossed this line, you may begin riding your bike. First things first, on the bike course, all competitors are required to abide by the highway code. That means if, unfortunately, there's a bit of congestion, it doesn't mean you can just start overtaking everything in front of you if it's unsafe to do so. It is an out and back course, so the blue line all the way out to the Fullerbrook Wind Farm and back again. And all roads except for this short section between Putsborough and Georgeham are open. So please be careful of traffic and be aware. As anyone who's done the event before or undertaken a course recce will know, roads can be narrow, so take it easy. The first thing to note is there's a ford just after the start as you head out through the road through Putsborough. Please cycle through the ford. The bridge is narrow and can be slippery. I've uploaded a course recce video to YouTube from last year. And for those who've not seen it before, it's worth having a look at it. Just a little bit of advice around how to go through the ford. And then I'll show that all of the areas on the map here have got their own videos later. The first next point of note for safety is a foot down stop up at the Pink House as you turn onto the Woolacombe Road. It's a right turn across traffic. You must come to a complete standstill, put your foot down, and then at least one foot must touch the ground and be stationary, and then push off from there. Anyone not abiding by this will receive a 5-minute time penalty, and if it's dangerous, could be immediate disqualification when you return to the transition area. The next place is the right-hand turn at sign towards Marwood. This is heading for the Fullerbrook Wind Farm. Again, please take care and watch for oncoming traffic. You're crossing across a lane of traffic. You do not have right of way. Marshals will be warning you, and any dangerous from the risk could result in time penalties or disqualification. The next part on the cycle course is the narrow bridge, which I've flagged in previous years, but this year we've decided to make that section a no overtaking section, just because of a couple of close incidents previously. We don't want people to be overtaking, because by the time we get to the narrow bridge, if someone's overtaking the other direction, then you can have potential for collision, or even worse if there's a vehicle coming. So there will be no overtaking signs, and again, marshals will be here. Dangerous cycling could result in penalty or disqualification. You then reach all the way out to the turnaround, which is a large farm entrance. You can't miss it. It's after a really enjoyable rolling ride and down a steep, not steep, but a fast descent. Come to slow down. There'll be a marshal here in a pickup truck taking all your numbers, so we know nobody has taken a shortcut or turn around early. The farm entrance is slightly rough and gravelly, so please be careful. On the way back, once again, you'll come to the narrow bridge. Same rules apply, no overtaking, and you must give way at the left turn junction at the top of the Fullerbrook Road. After that, you're going to come back to the Pink House. This is a slightly blind bend, and again, narrow road, so try and avoid overtaking here for your own safety and for other road users. And then you'll be heading all the way back to Pickwell. So this is the manor overlooking the beach. The final section here has narrow and steep descents and sharp corners, so you must slow down. As you approach the Pickwell farm, there are 3 sharp bends. Basically come back on yourself and then back on yourself again, and then another one down at the bottom. Just please take care there. Again, there's a course recce video if you haven't, if you want to see that. As the Pickwell Road joins the Putsborough Road, there's a T-junction at the bottom of the hill, where on the way down, you'll again pick up quite a lot of speed. This is another forced foot down stop, because you'll be turning right across traffic. The road is still open from Georgeham, so people could still turn up the hill. So you must stop here, and misjudging speed is not an excuse. You must come to a standstill. And again, potential disqualification for dangerous behaviour or time penalties. The last point, going back through the ford at Putsborough, again, take care crossing through that. The road is open from after you get into Putsborough, so again, return to make sure on the left-hand side. I mentioned the video from last year, and it still stands to a degree. There has been gravelling or resurfacing done last year. There is gravel still in some parts of the centre of the road, so just take care on that closed section of crossing the centre of the road, just because of the gravel there. There will be a sweep van following the last cyclist, so if you have any problems or mechanicals and can't continue, then let the nearest marshal know, and we will make sure the sweep van picks you up in a safe place to stop. They will bring you back to transition, but they're not there to fix your bike. Unfortunately, if you have a mechanical incident on the course, you're responsible for your own maintenance, so come prepared. If you need puncture repair kits or other things that you could fix or maintain your bike, then please bring it with you. So you need to dismount before the dismount line, and then once you cross the timing mat, the T2 time will start, and again, it's not a neutral zone. You should only remove your helmet after your bike has been racked. Again, a hot pick for the technical officials, and if you do that, then it's a potential time penalty. Relay runners should only start from the bike rack position, so don't wait anywhere else other than by the bike rack position. And after the cyclist has returned, the time chip is securely attached to their ankle. Doesn't matter who you're going for a run, doesn't matter which ankle, and then you'll head out on the run course. As I said, there's some videos that I've uploaded to YouTube, a few extra ones that I put up yesterday for some of those key locations that I've just described here. So when you come into the transition area, as I was saying, this year, rather than heading straight across and out the run out, you'll head down to the bottom of the transition area, back up to the top and cross over the road, being taken care when you get to the other side of the road. The run course is going to be well marshalled and signed as usual, and there's 3 water stations on the course, but feel free to bring your own water from transition as well, if you, particularly if it's a hot day. A reminder that when you get to transition, check where the run out is before and the bike out is before you head off, because it's not a good thing to come in when you're hot and tired after being swimming or biking and not knowing where to go next. So please try and check those out before you get there. So take care as you cross the road at a transition. It's a clockwise loop of the course. Once you go through the gate into what was the old car park field, you'll head down through Putsborough. You'll see the ford again, so be careful of traffic and particularly cyclists coming from the other direction, and who are returning from on the bike course. As you head down the Coombus farm lane, there will be a water station, again with jelly babies down here, and then you'll head down to the manor farm in Croyde. Again, this is crossing a road going through the village, so please take care of traffic crossing from each direction. You then have what I like to think of as the big hill up to Saunton Down, which, if you're struggling, it's no harm in walking up this hill. It's a fairly long slog. I know that the leaders will be making it look easy, but it is pretty tough. Get to enjoy the view at the top. That's always helpful. Hopefully reinvigorate you for the rest of the run. And before you head down a steep descent down the steps towards Saunton Hotel, where there'll be another water station at the bottom steps before turning back along the coast parallel to the shoreline towards Down End. As you come to Down End, this is where you need to cross the main road. It's the busiest of all the roads that you're going to cross. Again, take time, listen to the marshals. You need to cross the road, run up on the opposite side of the road, and then head back onto the coast path. Again, I've recorded a course recce video the other day, just for those who haven't seen it before, so feel free to check that out on YouTube.
There's been a question about posting that link.
Yeah, the reason I will post it, and it's actually at the end of this briefing as well, the whole playlist of all of the videos. The reason I didn't do it before, because I was concerned that people would then start watching them all and think, I've already done the briefing, and this is just to say these are just additional tips as you go through. But yeah, thanks for asking and for reminding. So the run route crosses Croyde Beach, which is about halfway as you enter the beach, halfway on the run course. And there's a small stream that runs across the middle of it, so be prepared to get wet. My tip, and something that Jack Hutchins, our 4-time winner of Croyde Ocean Triathlon, who's returning this year after a break last year, his tip is to try and run on the hard high tide sand, and don't get sucked into running on the dry sand that's all nice if you're sunbathing, but not great for running on. So just go as high as you can on the high tide sand, but you will get wet feet, so be prepared that your shoes will be wet as you're running across the rest of the beach. As you leave the beach, you head along the path towards Baggy Point, which is out on the western tip here. There's a water station near Croyde Cafe, and if it's hot, there may even be a hose available. What I also wanted to draw your attention to is the little S shape here, which is where there has been a slight course change, and by that they've just changed where the path is. So I just want, for those who have been here before, I just want you to know before you get there that the old steep rocky path that used to be up here, and those who like to leg burn used to really enjoy running up that, has now been blocked off, so you cannot go up there. Don't try and cut the corner. And now the path goes up on a slightly smoother S-bend around the back of the old path. My parents are there. They're very strict, so they're not going to let you cut off that corner. But even if you do say, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Wright, they would still go, no, your number has been taken. It's that from that point onwards, it's about 9 kilometres when you reach the end of Baggy Point. So you've got just under 3K back to the finish line signage as you go, so you'll know where you are. It's worth emphasising that littering is not accepted. We want to leave everything as stunning as possible in North Devon, so don't leave any trace of you out on the course. We have zero tolerance approach to littering. If anyone is seen littering by marshals, then they will be disqualified. Race control. On your race numbers, you have at the bottom my telephone number. This is the emergency contact number, so at all points during the event I will be contactable. I'll be liaising with the emergency ambulances and marshals on the course. So if there's any issues you have, please either, if you don't have a phone with you, then stopping a member of the public and using that phone. You are the eyes and ears of everybody across the whole course. Whilst we've got marshals there, you're the first people who see an incident, most likely. So please look out for each other. If you see anyone in serious trouble, please stop and help, or continue to the next marshal and let them know the situation so that they can call for help. We have medical crew, including 3 ambulances across the course and first aid in the transition area. And also, if you see anything or anyone suspicious, please let one of the marshals know. We don't want anything to happen on the day. If you have any problems or questions, please remain polite with marshals and direct any of your questions to me as race director or Mike Morris as the event director. Once you've got back and you would have collected your medal, for those who haven't seen, this is the last year's medal. It just has a slightly different ribbon colour. I'll just remind you now, they're all bottle openers. Again, as I say, we don't like to have anything that's not usable or wait. So this is just sat on my fridge here, ready to open the beer. Once we finish the event, you can do the same. The transition will be closed from 1:30. So please make sure you remove your bike and equipment before then. And we're not responsible for loss or theft. If you decide to go for a surf, which some people like to combine, make it a quadrathlon, go for a surf after the race, you might find no one there when you get back. So we have to start packing up pretty quick. Finally, enjoy it. It is stunning and savage in probably equal measure. We've got nearly 100 gold hats swimmers or participants this year, which are people who've done it for 3 times. We've got 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th. And I think we have still 2 8-timers. So people have done it every year. So please keep coming. People keep coming back for more. So hopefully you'll get to enjoy it as well. It's your first time. If you have any questions about anything I've said now, or it's in the pre-race information, let me know. Raise your hand or add a question to the chat. And thank you for listening. Now I can see there's a lot of comments in the chat, and Lucy's now going to hand over some questions.
That I think were good for everybody to hear. So, do all women start at the same time, regardless of age?
Yes, there are around 120 female competitors, and they all start in the same wave unless they're in a relay. So all female competitors are in the same wave. Yes.
Is the swim transition time included, like the hill, or is it just from the top of transition at the time? So
we historically have always recorded the swim finish at the bottom of the hill, and then the transition time starts at the top of the hill. We have a time for the bit between the bottom of the hill and the top of the hill, more because people were quite interested in it when we first started it, because it's actually quite interesting how far some people can get on that bit of hill. But yeah, effectively your T1 time is really once you've got into the transition at the top.
Is there any way to download the GPX files of the course without using Strava?
I honestly don't know, because we have it on our website. What I would say is that the variation down at I haven't run the course since the variation and the path at that end. I'll have a look, but basically whatever's on our website is the only GPX info that we've got. Okay.
Can you just explain about British Triathlon membership? If someone doesn't have a membership, can you just be clear about what they need to do?
Yes, so as in your pre-race information, if you're signed up and you're not a British Triathlon member, you would have paid an additional cost to your entry fee. You get a discount if you're a British Triathlon member and you send your number. So all of you who aren't British Triathlon members have a day membership covered in your entry fee. So you don't have to do anything. It is already covered. It gives you your third-party insurance and cover on the course. So yeah, if you're not a member, don't worry about it. In the back of your pre-race information pack, there's information about how you could become a member and the advantages of it. But that's something that British Triathlon deal with. We're not, other than permitted by them, we're not endorsed or associated with them. So if you choose to become a member, that's great. We just want you to have that cover on the day. So we have day membership.
So I've got a question that I think is good for everybody to hear about the size of bag in race transition. So I've replied saying small to medium only, please, only the things you need for the race, just to allow plenty of space for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, if those hopefully you heard that, it's got to be a pretty small and it's got to be soft bag. You cannot take a box in there. We don't want anyone to be able to fall. It's a risk and a hazard in there. It has to be small and contained within the space of your racking position. Whilst we allow a little bit more space than previously, it's still pretty tight. I mean, the gap between bikes is less than 70 centimeters. So, and that's saddle to saddle. So on either side, you've got slightly more, but you can't take too much stuff into transition.
So,
any other?
Oh, so do you want me to make the point about COVID? Oh, and so sorry, Robert's made a very good point about the gates. So do you want to talk through the gates?
Yes. So
because they've actually changed Robert now, which is good. So there should be less handling, and then I can make the comment about COVID.
Yeah. So the gates are some of the places have been changed from styles to gates, and they're more kissing gate arrangements. So you just allow time for people to get through. Don't all pile into each other. They are on most parts of the course now. It's gates. There are particularly the last stretch in from along the Putsborough edge is quite there's just a lot more gates, but people are generally more stretched out by them. Will they be unlatched? I've always tried to put a stake to try and hold the gates open if they can stay open. If they're a kissing gate, then I can't. In answer to, I'm just looking at the next question down from relay member drops out due to injury or sickness, can swim also do the bike leg. Yeah, a relay team is 2 members, so 2 members minimum. So if someone wants to do a leg that they weren't doing before, then that should be fine.
Just Greg's comment about COVID.
Yeah, so I think one of the approaches that British Triathlon and Learn to Live Safe with the Virus, COVID is clearly an illness amongst others, and there are issues associated with that. I'm not a medical advisor for you. If someone's had COVID and it's close to the time, then unfortunately it's an illness that they won't be able to take part with. So yeah, if you're exhibiting symptoms, please don't come to the event.
Can you readdress Robert's question about the touching point? Sorry, he's just returned with a follow-up comment.
Yeah, I understand, Robert. I mean, it's not all of them can be held open, and
that's from a national trust point of view. So
we can't take the gates off, and the National Trust. So that's now what the gates are. I totally understand. There will be hand gel at the finish. Unfortunately, there's not anything else that we can do on the day. But other than those gates that we can hold open, then we will. And potentially we could put sanitizers on the gates. I think that carrying your own pocket one could be a really good idea. It's just the time, because then you could, otherwise you're going to be queuing for hand sanitizers at each gate as well. So I think maybe if it's a concern for you in particular, then I'd suggest carrying a hand sanitizer with you is probably good.
So Nick's asked, can you check what time transition closes before the first wave?
So we want everybody to be in transition for 7:30 because from that point onwards, if there's any additional briefings I need to give for safety on the day, like last year there was after heavy rain, I had to give some additional advice about where there was standing water on the cycle course. So I think if you're not there before 7:30, then you might miss out on some of that information. So yeah, if everyone can be there by 7:30, and obviously for the female competitors in the individual need to be there ready to go by 7:30.
And what time does the last wave due to hit the water?
Last wave will be in the water at around 8:20. So you'll be heading out 5 minutes after each of the other waves in turn, and last wave starting around 8:20. Any other questions I should?
So those are all the ones I have. Is there anybody that should?
Yeah, if someone wants to put their hand up or just ask something
Just to
direct.
be clear, race packs are collected on the day in the bike racking area.
Yeah, so we make it a self-service registration. Every person will have one of these goggle bags waiting for them in that area. The only thing you need to do before the day is to take a permanent marker. Other sizes of Sharpie are available, and other pens, and then just write your number on your hand before you go in. I will send race numbers this week. We're just getting the final chips from the timing company today. So from that point onwards, I'll be able to confirm your race numbers.
And oh, actually, yes, if you could just confirm the water temperature, that'd be great, because I've already mentioned that wetsuits are compulsory.
Yeah, the water temperature is around about 15, 16 degrees at the moment. But the issue that is often, like if someone's going surfing during the day, they might find, oh, actually it's warmed up during the day. First thing in the morning, even on a July day, after a cold overnight, and particularly on a dropping tide, it is as cold as it's going to be for that day. So I would say, even if you think, oh, 16 degrees is okay, you've got a queue down to the start. You're going to be walking for the best part of a kilometre and a half down towards where you're going to be starting the swim. So having a wetsuit on will be essential. If it's hot, then by all means keep it down and only pull it up once you get towards the start area. But yeah, having a wetsuit is essential. Yeah, if you've ordered merchandise, that will be available to collect either at your race, at your racking point, or race HQ afterwards.
Great, looking forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, can't wait to see you all. If there's no other questions, I will press pause on the record, and I'll stop on the